What up, YouTube? It's your boy Detroit Love with another video. Today we're going to take a look at installing a flush USB port to the front of your cabinet so that you can charge up devices or add controllers for 3 and 4 player gameplay. This thing is awesome. Let's get it started. So today we are going to install the USB extender. So I just removed my control panel. I disconnect the LED daisy chain wire and the ground and power to the button for the controls. And I had these little small white buttons, but you know I had a little debris around there, a little sloppy, so I'm going to take off the white buttons and just enlarge these holes and use the yellow, which the yellow will match player 1 and player 2. So I'm just going to put the USB right in the center of this. The letter J, this is the J board, is that letter signifies the back. And so I'm going to drill through on the front. This was a little jagged because I went through the opposite way on my first build. So I'm just going to see what the distance is from edge to edge. We'll roughly say just under 10. So half of that will be 5. So we're just going to put that at the 5 mark here. But it'll be pretty close. I'm going from edge to edge, that's at 4. And from edge to edge, that's just inside. So I just need to go over just a little bit more this way. To make these larger for the big buttons, I'll just go all the way through. In our kit, we have our extender, so it's 2 USB jacks, two ports, so it's 1 to 1. So I'll have to have 2 open ports in the back. It's pretty thin. All right, that's the cover. Not sure what this is at all. I don't like when they don't give you any type of instructions. It's just, I don't understand people who are in business to make money and don't do things like that. It's just silly. I would imagine once it's together, these will go through the hole. Just to see what size. So it'll be a little bit bigger than this. So it's probably the standard button size. So I have to increase these holes anyway for my other bigger buttons. So I'm just going to do that. All right. Okay, let's just do this other hole. Try not to go all the way through this time. All right, so we can test to make sure that that is the size for this, which I would imagine it is. Why wouldn't it be? Yep, there you go. I have my hole to stick in to keep this board from turning all the way. Just make sure this box I'm sitting on is stable. Not much of a hole there, but should be enough. Look like I'm a little off. Look like I'm a little higher, but that should be fine. Feed that through. Go ahead up the cap. Force that up. Can't really like twist it or anything. Now, I guess you got to determine, do you need this cap? Do you want that cap? Is that going to be a lot of pressure, wear and tear on this board as you're putting that on and off, you know, because this is pretty thin. So you have to decide. I mean, are people going to be drinking beer? Is it possible they're going to spill that into that socket there? You know, is that a possibility? Those are things you have to consider, obviously, like anything. You can have it with or without. All right, so that's going to be like that. Mount it up and down. And probably the easiest thing would be to I want it up and down, and I want the cap to be on the top, so I have to get that in position. Something like that. Okay. Have to feed. So one is a flush. It's weird the way this stuff turns. Like it doesn't want to turn, then it turns easily. Then it doesn't want to turn. It's like it's locking in prematurely. Don't squeeze this, because if you squeeze it, it won't tighten. You really have to turn it without applying pressure to it. And there you go. All right. Okay. So we'll just get our buttons. So I'm just going to feed this down there. We'll deal with that later. Put my button in. Put both buttons in. Line up these buttons to face the same way so that the wires go in the same direction. Okay. Tighten those up. I don't have any lettering or anything on it, so it'll have to be a certain direction. Whoa, can't even see it. It's invisible. Alright. So, we just slide this back. And before we do, we'll just hook these wires back up. So, we know from our controls video that the pins that go all the way through to the light are the light. We know that the light has to be the daisy chain. So, this is the daisy chain. So we'll put those in, and they are marked red. We'll mark the red, so the red one will go here. We'll just touch the test. We'll touch the test before we commit. Red and black. Pull these up so they can touch. See the lights coming on? See, lights coming on. So that is the right way, so we'll commit. We'll plug it in. And go. Have a light. And the other two don't matter, so we'll match up color to color. We'll put the red on the red, black on the black. Okay, over here, do the same thing. I want to go straight through. Here's the light. Alright, so we'll do this. Which is which? We tried to put it the same way, so this should be red on this side and black on that side. And we have a light. You can't see because I'm blocking it, but it's good, so we'll commit. It's fighting me a little bit. Put the red on, slide it down. Black. Slide that cover down so it's not touching anything. Nothing to touch it. Make sure these loose ones that's not plugged into anything are the plastic's covering up the ends that red is exposed. Slide this up to make sure that's not exposed. Come on, turn it. Pull it back. Try it again. There we go. Should be another red one. That red one's a little fine, but not quite. Alright, just want to make sure those aren't covered. Not exposed, I'm sorry, but they're fully covered. Fully covered. Black, black. So you're not getting any shorts on anything. Or getting any blinking lights. So get those well covered. Or, don't go too far. Don't want to go too far because you don't want to expose the top
wire either, so they go a little bit too far. A little exaggerated. Alright, just want to make sure those are covered. Not pulling too far. Alright. All of them are good now. Okay, and just plug these two in. Plug controls. Gets a little tight over here, so. Plug in close. Alright, slide that in.
Alright. Oh yeah. No blinky blinkies. Got our yellow lights matching our player starts. Okay. Alright, let's go to the back. In the rear. Now we'll have to get the cable management cleaned up a little bit, but the cords are quite long enough to get to where they need to go. Now, I have the little keyboard that plugs into here, so I only have one available slot. Now they do sell the same USB extender that has one insert but two slots. So all this means is I'll have to have this plugged up front. So we'll take that out for now and plug in the two USB. And normally when you plug in a USB, the symbol on the top plastic is the one that goes towards you. So something to remember. Now every time I go into my control panel, I disconnect my power button because it's so short. Any pull on that requires that I pull that out, or it comes out on its own. So I have to get this plug back in. I don't know if you can see, but it just goes into pins 5 and 6. I think that's plugged in, but we'll see. So we have our USB. This will go up front. The plug into, that's where my keyboard. Got it plugged into the two ports, USB ports on the Raspberry Pi. We have our cover here. And see as I'm pulling on this to take that off, that's going to be some wear and tear. There's a lot of space there, like it's beveled a little bit, but there's the ports. Again, when I need to communicate with my keyboard, I'll have to plug this in. So I got that plugged in. Obviously I wouldn't be able to close when you have that in. And then get a joystick, plug that into the other one. Alright, see how that's little, you can't really see it because it's dark, but it's not a big deal, but there's some give on there. Alright, so now that we have our joystick plugged in, let's turn on the cabinet. And sometimes with that script, you have to go off on to get it to register. So just know that. It's like it has to sense that change. So what this offers is the ability to have a joystick for playing games that require a controller. Now it should have prompted me because this is plugged in, but it didn't. So let's go to the main menu and go down to configure input. Are you sure? And it shows 3, and you can't see that. Alright, so it shows 3 controllers. So now I'm just gonna press and hold a button. Alright.
So up, down, left, right, start, select on the bottom, so trigger, A, B, I don't know which one I should do. I'll do X, Y, left shoulder, right shoulder. I'm just gonna make these left trigger, right trigger, and then everything else just get through it. And the hotkey, I'll do the bottom trigger. Alright. So
now I have a port and 2 ports that I can plug in joysticks from the front versus trying to deal with the back. Now this is one crucial thing you should remember when setting up these additional game pads. You want to make sure that when you go to configure input and you select, if you had 3 or 4 games, depending on how many you had plugged in USB, when you hold down this button on this joystick to set it up, it should say gamepad 3, not 1 or 2. If it's 1 or 2, then that means when you boot up with this plugged in, that's going to be player 1, and you don't want that. So you may have to change the plug location in the Pi to make sure that this says gamepad 1 when you press and hold that button. This says gamepad 2. This says gamepad 3, and if you had the 4th one, that it said gamepad 4. And I would make sure that it lined up on the panel, that maybe the top was 3 and the bottom was 4, so that you would know who was who. But you definitely don't want anything plugged into these 2 ports to show up as gamepad 1 or 2, or this showing up as 1 and that showing up as 2. So you want to make sure that that is reading correctly before you proceed. Okay, so now that we have 3 controllers set up, we have our gamepad 1, gamepad 2, and gamepad 3 set up. Let's test it to make sure that they're in the proper order. So let's begin with The Simpsons. This is a 4-player game, so we can play 3 here. So when I hit start on this, I should be the 3rd player. Alright, so I'll put some credits in, and you see that's Bart. You can't see because it's not clear. Yeah. See, I just hit this, so that's the 3rd player. I'm going to hit player 1's coin button. That's Marge, so we know that's right. And player 2's coin button. There you go. So we have it in the right order. That is very crucial, because when I first plugged it in, it saw it as gamepad 1 and it changed the order. So those ports in the actual Pi is assigned to a particular thing. So now we can have this set up correctly. We won't have any issues. Alright, so I'm Bart. Alright. And so this is with the joystick. Hello. Hey, why are they hugging over there? Let's go. Whoa. I gotta protect my parents at all costs. What the? Alright. So that's just a real quick play. Obviously this is going to work number 2. That's going to work. Well, number 2 is grab, so. And so that's player 2, Homer, player 1 is Marge, and I am out. We have our joystick port plugs in here. We can get 2 ports. Again, because I have the keyboard, I can pull that out when I need it. If I don't need it, I can just plug this little adapter back into the keyboard and keep that together so I don't lose it. I'll just show you that. So if you take the back off the joystick, there's just a little pocket there that you can plug that adapter into so you don't lose it. Okay, so you don't have to, as long as you're diligent, you don't have to lose your stuff when you're playing with 2 joysticks. And that's all it takes. But a controller really works with other type of games. So we are going to get a different game that's not designed for necessarily a joystick, but for a controller. So we'll just come over here, find my mouse, here we go. Click this here. And it will download that. Doesn't take long. And that's it there. Okay, so we'll just copy this. And remember, if you have your machines identified by name, you can just go to the appropriate one. Alright, so I just go here. Then I find the appropriate emulator that I want. And just paste it there. Alright. Then I go back over to the machine. And over here we're just going to restart the emulation station. Restart that, and now we'll have a new entry here. You see there? Okay, and we click OK there, and we I hit the wrong button. Go inside there, we have a new game, and we launch that. And we can use the controller or the joystick, so we'll just use the controller. We'll hit this button, X button, I guess. Not sure why there's no sound on that board. Opening screen. Opening screen has no sound. I just hit my start button. Gives me choice for 1 or 2 players. Hit it again. You see the sound there. Now this is a sound that if you guys have grown up to this sound, this music. Hit my A button. A button is my jump. Alright, I'm gonna end this thing here. Forgot all about that little thing. So I'm gonna end it here. So if you want a controller, okay, zoom in on it. If you want a controller to use on your Street Fighter or whatever modified cab uses a horizontal cabinet, you too can install your very own. That port allows you to plug in the joystick. When you're done, you can just unplug the things there, unplug that guy as well, and just close it up. So you can upgrade, modify your cabinet to include a USB port, 2 ports, takes up 2 ports in your Raspberry Pi. Obviously this will work with a PC as well, and with that you obviously can plug in a joystick. So we can plug that in. And we can also plug in like your phone charger. So when people are playing games, if they're just playing regular games, they can plug in their device. and get a charge. So you're playing, you have your phone, you need to get a charge so that when you're done playing, you're not completely dead. You can use those ports. It says phone is not, accessory is not unlocked. Oh, it says unlock the phone to use the accessory. So it looked like it's used. So it looked like it's seeing it as an accessory and not as a charger. So that, my friend, is not good. So you can't use it as a charger because it's seen as a computer. So it's not that you can't use this port as a charger, because you can, but then you have to change some things. So in order for this to be used as a charger, you would have to unplug one of the lines in the back. So I unplugged one and plugged it into the power brick. So instead of going to the Raspberry Pi, only one goes to the Raspberry Pi and one goes to this. So you know what because you obviously can buy that to be for controllers for playing multiple player games, or you could buy it because you want people to be able to charge their devices while they're playing. So if you're using it for charging, you won't plug it into the Raspberry Pi because that's not powerful enough. You plug it into a strip, and that will allow you to let that USB be a charging port. So right now this one's plugged into the one that's plugged into the Pi, so I could use this. Just turn the sound up again. So I can use the joystick to control the game, and I can use the second port to charge my device. So I can make both of them be plugged into the Raspberry Pi as a controller or for the keyboard, or I can have both of them plugged into a power strip in the back so they both are charging ports. So it's up to you. Obviously you can have a separate pair. You could have mounted one here and then one there and have this set be to the computer and the other set be to charging ports. So, you know, the world's your oyster. You can do however you want to do it. So that is your options. Alright guys, that's it for today. We got our port that we can use for whatever we need it for, and you can do the same thing. Links in the description if you want to get one. I appreciate whenever you use the links because it supports me, allows me to get different things like this to show you what's possible. So thanks for watching. Give a thumbs up on the video if you enjoyed it. Thumbs up if you enjoy the channel in general. Subscribe if you hadn't done so. Share this with people on your social medias, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you socialize at. Let people know about this site and these great videos, and then comment below. I appreciate the comments. I get some of my ideas from you guys asking, hey, have you done this? Can you do that? So that helps. Keep it coming. Until next time guys, I'll see you on the web.